Good morning, friends, and welcome to a Hasty Podcast. You're listening to a Hasty Podcast, and good morning. I don't know if that picked up. Did you hear that? Listen. Listen. I don't know if you can hear that on microphone or not, but if you're watching the visual, we got a little bit of a visual gag here of me pouring an ice cold one into my usual coffee mug. Because it felt like to do this podcast, which, by the way, hi, you're listening to a Hasty Podcast. How long has it been? I'm not gonna look it up. We're not gonna talk about how long it's been. Anyway, it doesn't feel right to do the podcast without a mug in my hand. The literal logo of a Hasty Podcast is my mug, you know. So it just feels like I've got to have the mug. But I do have to make a confession. It's not morning for me. It'll be morning when I release this episode. I don't know when you're gonna be hearing it, but I'll be releasing it in the morning. So I want to say good morning, but it is evening for me as I sit here waiting on videos to render and upload. And I've been doing several things all at once, and well, and by several things at once, I've been doing a lot of like hurry up and wait. I've had several projects that today that require me to start something, and then a video has to like render, so I just like bugger off while my computer is doing what it needs to do to render, and then I need to upload something, so then I bugger off while it's uploading if I need the internet or whatever. So like I've been doing a lot of hurry up and wait today, and I thought as I was scrolling through X, I came across there's this music page. What do you call profiles on Twitter that aren't people? Just profile, I guess. Page, channel, account, I guess is what it would be. There's this music account that I swear to you, it's supposed to be like world music, but like 90% of its posts are K-pop related. And I'm seeing this and I'm like, why am I always getting K-pop on my timeline? I'm like, oh, it's this one account, I swear. And I guess it feeds into my algorithm. I always see this K-pop stuff. And I don't know a lot about K-pop. I'm not a big K-pop hater. I'm not like a fan of it at all. I'm completely adjacent to it in existence. I promise this is going somewhere. So anyway, as I'm doing all this hurry up and wait today, and I've been scrolling through X, and I sit down, I'm like, you know what? I'll pop on Netflix and watch something. I got 30 minutes to kill. I'll watch an episode of something. And I scroll, and I see this show that I think I saw. I didn't watch a trailer for. Well, maybe I did. I don't remember if I watched the trailer for it or not. But it dropped like a month or two ago. This trailer of this new show or whatever, and I'm like, okay, it's this animated show. It's been doing numbers. It's been doing its rounds around social media or whatever. It's K-pop. I'm like, this is basically Destiny. KPop Demon Hunters. All right. Is the name of this show. I sit down and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch this. I feel like what I was just on X. I saw this K-pop stuff. I sit down on Netflix. I see this K-pop stuff. I feel like it's Destiny. so I click it and start it. I didn't realize I'm watching this, and like probably 30 minutes or nearly 30 minutes go by, and I'm like, wow, the production quality of this is really good, but it doesn't feel like this episode's gonna wrap up anytime soon. And I look again, like while it's playing, I like move my mouse. I'm watching from my laptop. I move my mouse, and it's not a show. It's a movie. I started watching a movie. I'm like, man, the production value of shows these days they're through the roof. I was like, man, there's these songs and the animation is top notch. I'm like, man, Netflix went all out on this TV show. It's not a TV show, it's a movie. So that made a lot of sense 30 minutes into this movie that I'm watching. I was really confused. I'm like, well, I guess the episodes could be an hour long, is what I was thinking. But I was still like, wow, the production value, the music. I mean, I know it's called K-pop Demon Hunters, and for the uninitiated, if you don't know what K-pop means, it's literally Korean pop, as in like pop music, but like Korean, which is funny. I want to talk about the movie a little bit because that's the most recent thing I did, so that's what I'm doing. The thing is, it was a bold choice to have no Korean in any of the show, movie, in any of the movie called KPop Demon Hunters, no Korean. Granted, I didn't check. I'm sure you could have listened to it dubbed. I'm sure you could have listened to it, or watched it dubbed, I should say, or subtitled or whatever. I'm sure it was an option. If it wasn't an option, that would be insane. If it wasn't an option, I'm sure it had to have been an option, but I didn't check. It was all in English. Bold choice, probably the right choice, the right move for any casual view. Like if it were, like if there's some, because it's a movie, right? It's not just Korean pop, right? It's not just an artist releasing music to play on Korean radio or something. It is a movie, and it's a musical. The movie is a musical, so the lyrics and stuff are all actually really closely tied to the plot of the movie. So of course, it's not a bad thing that all the Korean pop idols were singing in English, but it did feel bold. It did feel, there's something about it that felt a little disingenuous, isn't the right word. Inauthentic, maybe. It felt like if you're a big K-pop fan, as many of the how widespread is the K-pop fandom? I see K-pop as being particularly big in young women and girls. Is where I think it's the most popular. On the internet, from what I understand, that seems to be the target demographic. I could be wrong, but at least in the West, to an English-speaking audience, in the United States, from my perspective, as an elderly man, it seems to me that the target demographic is young women and girls. And I don't mean like, cause I didn't try to look and see if it had a rating. I should have done that, because the movie itself is a family movie. I feel like what audience you think would be appropriate to watch Frozen, Disney's Frozen, is the appropriate audience that could watch K-pop Demon Hunters. But, just especially so if you have children or friends or whatever that are really into K-pop. So anyway, that's the target demographic. Just to set the scene here, it's a family movie, right? It's not aimed as like for kids. It's like a family movie that is approachable for kids. I will say there are a few elements of it that I thought were strange for being aimed towards young people. In particular, these girls, I'm gonna try not to spoil the movie, just kind of give you like vaguely what it's about and my take on it and my feelings about it, because I want to talk about, I just watched this movie and I want to talk about it. And so here we are. Where was I even going with this? Oh yeah, these idols, these K-pop idols are demon hunters. There's 3 of them. I've got a list of their names actually in front of me because of 2 reasons. One, I'm terrible at remembering the names of characters from movies I've watched immediately after the movie's over. It can be any movie. I can love the movie, hate the movie, or be indifferent toward the movie. It doesn't matter the quality of the movie. If I watch a movie and then the movie ends, I no longer remember the names of any of the characters. None. Not a single one. So usually when I need to talk about movies, I have to pull up a list, which luckily I can do. I pulled up a wiki so I can remind myself who the frick the characters were. I'm never confused during the movie on who's who. The girls are Rumi, Mira, and Zoe, if I'm remembering how their names are said. But there's 3 of them. They're K-pop idols, and they're demon hunters. They come from a lineage, I guess. I mean, they joined up this lineage or ancient sect or group of demon hunters. And the thing is, and this is where I said, like, it's like the target audience is a little interesting. The demons are portrayed very cartoonishly, very approachable for kids and young people, but almost too much, like almost Minions-esque, almost, right? Where you kind of feel for them a little bit at times. Like they're often too human, which actually is really strange when we get into sort of the theme of the movie, which seems to be kind of like redemption. Like you almost feel, you kind of feel like the demons are going to be redeemed throughout the movie. Like they're people just like us, but then also not really. Like that's not really the angle they're going for, but it kind of feels like it because they feel too human. They on one hand feel really human and really redeemable, and then on the other hand, literally emotionless, like psychos that just want to consume the souls of the living. Like it's really, it's kind of whiplashy is what I'm trying to say. It's very whiplashy. So when the demons are being not evil, they're being very cartoonish, and I'm like, oh, you kind of feel for them a little bit. But then when they're evil, they're like really evil. They're sucking the souls out of people. They get sent to this like demon realm and consumed by this like eternal demon fire to be destroyed for all of time. That's kind of like, and it actually, I don't know if it's a spoiler, but like it happens. It happens in the movie. People's souls get sucked. They're dead. They're dead and their souls are gone. As far as I'm aware, like that's it. That's game over, man. And it happens, and sometimes the gravity of that truth doesn't come across because it is a family movie and they're not really trying to dwell on that. But that's kind of crazy. That's kind of metal. You know what I mean? It's kind of Warhammer, right? It's kind of Warhammer, like all these people, they lost their souls to the warp to be tormented in torture for all the rest of eternity. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of, what? But they don't dwell on that. They don't dwell on. There's this old man that has a goofy part, and the shooing off the idol girls from this bathhouse. Because they're in the men's bathhouse. I'm not going to explain why. I'm just going to let you guys discover that for yourselves. And they're embarrassed and like, oh my gosh, we're not supposed to be here, and blah, blah, blah. And they leave, and this funny old man. And then he sits down. He's in a bathhouse. He's trying to take a bath. And then a demon kills him. Sucks the soul straight out of his noggin. That's it for that old... We never see him again. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, you'll have to watch it for yourself and tell me just the whiplash. I couldn't get over it. The whole movie, I'm like... So many people died and we're not gonna address it. Okay, sure. Like so many souls. Okay, all right. Anywho, for the most part, I mean, the K-pop girls save a lot of people, I guess. But anyway, there's a lot of Korean mythology or influence or something. I don't know what to call it because I'm not familiar with Korea, but like the representation of demons, some of the mythos represented, different culture, attire. You have a lot of Korean representation. I assume is authentic. I'm not knowledgeable enough to say whether or not it's authentically Korean, but it's authentically foreign to me. So I'm going to hope that they did their due diligence. So there's elements of the movie that I can't really speak for. Some of the creatures, there's this big like blue furry tiger thing that felt kind of important in some way. Maybe it's representative of something cultural. There's this bird thing with multiple eyes. The demons themselves, how they're represented, like their demon realm. I don't know how significant that is to Koreans. There's a lot of that is in the movie and exists throughout the movie and is not explained, and I kind of appreciate that. I like it when movies don't hold your hand too much. Like that, all that representation just exists in the movie to flesh it out and give it balance, but it's not here to like explain it to like ignorant Westerners. It's like you either get it or you don't. We don't care. It's a part of the culture of this movie, and it exists in this movie. Keep up, is what it basically says. What I will say is that because of that, it makes me very curious to learn more about many of the aspects of the movie that I don't understand. So it makes you kind of curious. I respect that in a movie. I respect a movie that can respect its audience's intelligence. It never, when I say it's a family movie, it never felt like it was trying to be dumb for kids. Like it was never stooping. It never felt like it was stooping anywhere. It very much was silly and cartoonish. I do want to talk about the animation style of it. Production quality was great. I couldn't decide for a long time while watching the movie, like throughout the movie, like the thought was in the back of my head, I'm like, do I like this animation though? Like it's clearly well produced. Like it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look like the like you know, everything's fluid, everything goes well. There's a stylism to it though. I don't know what to call the style. it's a 3D animated computer generated sort of animation and style or whatever, but there's something to it that is a little bit unusual, a little bit like off of the tried and true. There's a little bit to it that gives it a little bit of zest. I don't know what it is. There's a little bit of je ne sais quoi to it that gives it just a little bit extra. And then in particular, they have this way of going about exaggerated reactions, especially with facial reactions. Sometimes they don't do this all the time, but they do it often enough that you notice where it's this sort of almost this break from their like I would call it like adjacent to like an anime face, because that's what I'm familiar with, where like you've got like this perfectly well animated human figure, and then something crazy happens and they'll have this like crazy shocked face that breaks the actual style and it has a style of its own. And it's really exaggerated. The style of the facial animations in the art, when it changes and shifts, is really impressive. And it's very emotive, and I couldn't decide if I liked it though. Like, it's well done, but I couldn't decide if I liked it. It grew on me. It definitely grew on me, but it took away this certain gravitas from the movie. Again, with it being very cartoonish and being very accessible, it added levity to a movie that didn't really need it, because they never really let it dwell on the darker aspects being portrayed in the movie. There's a couple of darker not darker, that's the wrong word, but like heavier themes that they're trying to grapple with an identity. The big thing the movie seems to want to convey is redemption. There's this character called Genu. I want to say Genu. I can see his name, I just don't know how to say it. I think it's Genu. He's a demon who apparently once was human, and he has this past. Like, he's got this story about how he basically became a demon, and he's got all this shame and regret and all this stuff, all this baggage he carries with him that clearly troubles him, and basically makes him feel like he's not worthy of care or whatever. He's not a worthy individual. And so there's this theme of him earning his redemption. Like, you root for him earning his redemption throughout the movie, maybe by the end of the movie, you root for that. And then with the lead K-pop idol, Rumi, she's the lead singer of the girl group. She's got a secret. Minor spoiler here, but like, it's pretty early in the movie that this is revealed to you, and it's a pretty it's a consistent theme throughout. So I'm gonna ease you in on this, but turns out she's part demon, and she's got this pattern on her body that it's like a birthmark that indicates that she is part demon. And when she was younger, it was quite small, and as she's gotten older, it's gotten quite larger, and she's been having to cover up more and more of her body to hide the fact that she's part demon. And she's trying to go on this demon hunting quest through pop music to hopefully rid herself of her markings, so that she doesn't have to hide who she is anymore, being part demon. She says she doesn't want to hide anymore, but the ultimate goal for her is to remove the markings, not stop being part demon, remove the markings. So basically, she's just trying to hide in perpetuity, and that's a huge theme, is her hiding who she is. And even with her K-pop group comrades, co-stars, I don't know what to say, Mira and Zoe, they seem to have things in their past and throughout their lives too that weigh on themselves, insecurities that they have for themselves. They're not dwelled on nearly as much. They're brought up, they're mentioned, and just sort of they come about organically throughout the movie, which I again kind of appreciate, especially since this movie was really focusing on pretty much Rumi and Genu specifically. The movie didn't try to do too much. The pacing of the movie's already pretty quick. They're already trying to get kind of a lot done, but they don't try to do too many different side stories. So it stays pretty focused. So I think they achieve it pretty well. They achieve the pacing mostly well. There's some parts that feel a little fast, but it feels like anytime the pacing feels rushed, it's because it's a point in the movie that like this isn't the important part. This is just like, we got to get through this because this is like it's a necessary continuation of the plot progression, but it itself isn't the thing that we want you to think about. Now we move on to this thing. We want you to think about this. So I think the way they reveal everyone's sort of pasts works out pretty well, but you do have to pay attention in this movie. I will say, because your hand is not being held in the creation of the world, you know, the world building, your hand is not being held. The characters are who they are, and if you're not paying attention, you're gonna miss it. They're not gonna re-explain things. There's not gonna be a bunch of heavy like flashbacks for everyone. Not everyone's gonna just explain or monologue their whole story. They talk to each other. Their stories are mentioned, but but it's like the once, you know what I mean? This is a movie that if you're on your phone while you're watching this movie, you're doing the movie an injustice. There's always something going on, and it's gorgeous to look at anyway. So even though I couldn't make up my mind if I liked some of the style that they were going for, it grew on me, but I couldn't make up my mind. I think, I don't know, there's something about it that feels very new. I feel like this is a movie, I really should explain more about like its themes. I should say more, but I predict that this is gonna be a really groundbreaking movie for a lot of people. I feel like young people that watch this movie, I'm talking if you're like 10 to 15. It was where I'm gonna stick an age on it. If you're like 10 to 15 and you're watching this movie, this is going to go down as an important movie in your like either identity or your cultural sort of consciousness. It's like if you grew up watching, I don't know, Shrek or something, you know what I mean? It's gonna be a movie this is gonna be a movie that sticks with the young people that watch this. It tries to do a lot. It's a musical. If you like musicals, there's a bunch of songs in it, and they're all good. They're all bops. And I could swear there's this there's a boy band that is in the movie as well. They're called the Saja Boys, I want to say. And there's a song that they do called Soda Pop, and it started playing in the movie. I'm like, what the frick? I've heard this song before. And it's because I think I saw it on like TikTok, or heard it rather. I heard the song being used on TikTok in a trend or something. And I'm like, I've heard this song before. What the frick? And it's from the movie. As far as I can tell, all the songs in the movie are originals to the movie. So that was pretty funny. That one's pretty catchy. They're all really good. As far as the music goes. So like, it's got great music. It looks great. Like, it's well produced. And I just feel like the story, the main story, I want to say, the main theme is not hiding who you are. And your friends are the people who will accept you for who you are. You don't need to hide who you are to your friends. To the people that matter the most to you, you don't need to hide who you are. If you do hide who you are, then you're hurting yourself, you're hurting them, you're hurting everybody. It felt very much, there's a moment in the movie that I literally like pointed to the screen and I'm like, that's Frozen. That's literally Frozen. Disney's Frozen right now. There. Disney Frozen said, conceal, don't feel. This movie literally has a line, I don't remember what the line is, but a line that's like exactly like that. Something about, we can't let our thoughts and feelings show or something. They literally like have a line, and literally Rumi, because she has these demonic patterns she's trying to hide because she's only half demon and she doesn't want to be demon, right? She's got these patterns on her body that she's covering up. It's literally hide who you, like, it's so on the nose. And I'm like, this is literally, when did Frozen come out? That was like 2010s, right? So like over a decade ago, possibly a decade or more than a decade ago. So I feel like this is this decade's version of that movie. And I feel like it's going to be just as impactful. The difference is, and I'm not seeing it as widespread, I think because it's K-pop and that's very niche. I feel like I'm not, like, in public, people talking, I don't see a lot of discourse on this movie. I just see it on the internet, and on the internet, there's loads of people that love K-pop. So I don't know if I'm just kind of getting into the Venn diagram of people really into K-pop, or whether or not I'm in the Venn diagram of like normies. You know, but I do think this is gonna be a really impactful movie for a lot of people. I don't know if this movie ever released to theaters, because I think it was a Netflix original, I believe. Was it, or was it just licensed? It was produced by Sony, distributed by Netflix. So Sony made it, distributed it, so yeah, it's only on Netflix. So it wasn't in theaters, and I think that's gonna hold it back. And this is a bigger conversation for streaming in general, and it's not a new conversation by any stretch of the imagination, but it's worth mentioning again for the upteenth billionth time, that streaming has really buggered the way people discourse over shows and movies. For shows, if you can binge a show all in one go, then it's harder to find people talking about a given show that you want to watch in the wild. Because you know, after you finish a show, you might talk about it for like a week or something, and then you move on with your life to the next thing or whatever. But when you watch a show once a week for like, you know, 20 odd weeks, then you have 20 odd weeks to be discussing that show with others. When it comes to movies, you go out to see a movie with friends, talk about it with family, you know, people talk to each other like, oh, is this movie worth going to see? I mean, that used to be a big thing growing up. Like, oh, is this movie worth going to see? Because it's a big to-do to get, you know, to go to a theater, to go to the movies. If you want to go with people, you got to coordinate with people. Are you going to make it a big event? Are you going to eat before or after? Are you going to buy stuff at the theater? Like, the experience of going to the theater makes the experience a bigger one. I don't know if a lot of people are saying it that way, but I'm going to say it that way. Watching a movie in a theater makes the experience bigger. It just does. And I literally don't even mean the big screen. I don't even care about that. Basically, it's just the fact of having to go. And because that makes the event bigger, it creates a more lasting impression towards the event. You're more likely to talk about it with other people. Whereas with streaming, you can just be at home in your PJs, like I was, and flip on K-Pop Demon Hunters on a whim. You know what I mean? And watch and say, okay, that was neat. And then you're moving on to the next thing. And if you didn't have a podcast, if you aren't me, if you're just a normal person, I'm not a normal person. If you're just a normal person, clocking in your 9 to 5, watching TV, taking care of the kids or whatever, going to bed, moving on with your life, you're not really going to talk about K-Pop Demon Hunters with anybody. You know, you watched it at home. It stayed at home. Unless you're me, and then you can talk about it on a podcast, which, I don't know, I feel like that's how a lot of people get their information about anything now, is watching some creator or some influencer or something talk about a thing. And then a lot of people will watch an influencer talk about a thing, and that's their replacement. Like, so many of you, if you're listening to me talk about K-Pop Demon Hunters on Netflix, one, maybe you don't have Netflix and can't watch the movie anyway. Or two, you're like, okay, well, I've learned everything I need to learn to at least know about the movie. I don't really need to go see it. There's a possibility for that. I do recommend the show, movie. I do recommend the movie. It's good. It was good. I'm trying to think if I was gonna give it like a rating 1 through 10 or something, you know, like what would it be? I don't know, because I really think if I was like, I don't know, 13 or something, I don't know. I feel like if I was younger and I was in the K-pop scene, I think you need both of those. I think this would be like a 10 out of 10 movie. I really do. I'm not gonna say it's flawless. I'm not gonna say that. Like, I feel like it had, every now and again, had some pacing issues, and every now and again it had some sort of like whiplashiness between like the sort of gravity of the situation. But when you look at it as just a family movie, the production quality is great, the music's great, the theme is a strong one for young people to identify with. The whole like being true to yourself. Young people are trying to learn who they are as themselves anyway, especially when you're talking about like teenagers, right? Preteens into teenagers, they're discovering who they are, but they're also like getting into cliques, they're getting into groups, they're like observing their peers. They don't want to stick out because they're afraid of being mocked or judged or whatever. So when you're looking at like teenagers and young people, this is a very like big deal, right? Is identity and being true to yourself. So I feel like if I were a young teenager once again, and as into the K-pop scene, or maybe even just not in the K-pop scene, because honestly, again, like, it wasn't in Korean. It did feel like it's definitely targeted at girls in particular, so I don't know, maybe as a guy I wouldn't care. I don't know. I don't know what 13-year-old me would think about this movie that came out in 2025. I don't know. But I think it's really good. What would I give it? I don't know. I think it's a solid family movie. I'd give it like an 8. I had some issues with it. It did suffer a little bit from Twilight syndrome, just a little bit. Not too much. I'm glad they didn't push this. I don't know how much of this is a spoiler. I guess you're still listening. Between the two leads, Rumi and Jinu are the two main leads, as far as characters go. And they kind of have this, the movie kind of flirts with this idea that they might become a romantic item, that they might get together, and they don't stick with that. I don't know if that's gonna be a spoiler for anyone or not, but I'm kind of glad they don't, because Jinu is supposed to be a 400-year-old demon. He's supposed to be 400 years old. In the movie, they portray him as a teenager, basically. I don't know how old all these characters are supposed to be. The idols, specifically the K-pop idols, the girl band and the boy band, they all look like they're like, I don't know, 18, 19, 20, 21, something like. The girls said something about they might have been doing this for years, so they might be like, I don't know, 22. Maximum is 25, but they're not 25. But the whole reason I'm saying this is that they're young, but the one demon guy is supposed to be like 400, right? So they kind of flirt with this idea with this girl that's probably like, I don't know, 20, 21, 22, whatever, might be getting into a romantic relationship with a 400-year-old demon. And the demon's being kind of portrayed like he's the same age as her, but like, again, he's a 400-year-old like, it's weird, okay? Edward is old, okay? Bella is not. That is weird. So, I'm not trying to point out, this movie in particular as, like, being creepy. They don't play it off as creepy. And it's not like this movie's, like, the first to ever do something like this. But I was really worried that was going to be the path. I'm like, please don't put them together. I'm like, please don't make them romantic. Please don't. It's weird, man. But the reason I know that they're not particularly old is because there's a comment. I think Rumi makes it. One of them, I think it was Rumi. She makes a comment. Oh yeah. She's making fun of Jinu for being old-fashioned. Not really calling him out as being old, but old-fashioned. But like it's kind of the same thing or whatever. But in order to call him old, she says something like, "What are you, from the 1900s?" And I get it. I think some people would hear 1900s and think, oh, I don't know, like literally 1901 or 1920 or something, like 100 years ago. But like, I'm from the 1900s, right? Like the 90s is, the 90s is still the 1900s, right? So the idea of like, what are you, ancient? And meanwhile, the 90s was like, 25 years ago, right? So that's where I was like, okay, so clearly this is aimed for young people. The characters are young people. They're like, late teens, early 20s, something like that. And I was just really worried that they were going to make the 400-year-old demon man get with the frickin' 20-year-old pop idol. And I was like, please don't do this. They didn't. And I'm very happy about that. Because there's a girl band and a boy band, and there's demons, and there's these idols, and they're like, everyone's trying to be like cute or sexy or whatever. They have scenes where the girl group is like fawning over the boy band or whatever, and you don't want them to get together with the boy band or whatever. And I'm like, please don't make this a thing where like all the girl band people, like every single one of them gets with every single one of the boy band. It's like, don't do that. That's just stupid. It's like, when you see a movie, it's like, oh, here's the girl character and here's the boy character. They're getting together. It's like Mulan 2. I don't know how many of you have seen Mulan 2. The worst movie, period. It's so bad. The movie's terrible. Mulan, goated, god tier movie. Mulan 2, trash. Burn it in a fire. Pretend it didn't exist. But like they do that in Mulan 2. Where the like 3 soldiers get together with the 3 princesses just because they're all single and they're opposite sexes, so that clearly, like I don't know, it was really dumb, and I was really afraid that this movie was gonna do that. It didn't. So I was very happy about that. I don't know why I went on such a tirade, but it was literally something throughout the movie. I was just clenching, like, please don't. I enjoyed it. 8 out of 10. That's K-pop Demon Hunters. Did I explain this movie? Did I interest anybody? Let me know wherever it is. You can let me know. What have I been up to, guys? It's been a while since I've done this podcast. I don't even know if I remember my logins to upload this. We'll find out. I mean, if you're listening to this, you already found out. You know that. You know I figured it out. But as of recording this, I still got to figure that out. I've been doing all kinds of things. I'm streaming on YouTube on Magic Man Mo. It's a gaming channel. I've got a website, westonhasty.com, where you can find all my things. I've got a poetry book on Amazon, Smiling for the Sky, haiku style poetry about heartache, available both in Kindle and paperback. I've got stuff. I'm working on stuff. I'm actually working on a follow-up to that book right now. I've really delayed that. I wanted that out. As of recording this, I wanted that out months ago, and that didn't happen. Anyway, but I'm working on a follow-up to that. I've been screwing around with some music making. I downloaded a DAW and a digital audio workstation. I've been screwing around with some music. I got too many things on my plate. I keep adding more things to my plate, man. I got stuff to do. I've got another podcast you guys can listen to called Profoundish that I do with my buddy Alex. We talk. It's a better podcast than this one. Definitely go give it a listen if you haven't. Highly recommended. It's called Profoundish. It's available on Spotify, YouTube, all the same places you can find this podcast. Check that out. What else? I feel like we haven't talked in a long time. I feel like we're getting to know each other a little bit. I feel like we gotta sit down, have a powwow. We gotta have lunch. We gotta go brunch. We gotta go get a coffee and go get a what do people eat at brunch? I don't eat food in the morning. Go get a scone. What is a scone? I'm American. What is a scone? It's like a sweet biscuit, right? Am I crazy? It's like a flaky. Is it flaky? Like a flaky croissant thing. Is that true? What is a scone? That's the question I'm going to leave you guys with today. You've been listening to a Hasty Podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. If you enjoyed, please do all of the things. And until next time, goodbye.